This is Anakin Skywalker, and you're listening to the Gold Squadron Podcast.
This is episode 104 of the Gold Squadron Podcast. I'm your host, Gion Morales, and today I'm joined by Marcel Flat Manzano.
Flat or gone. That tire went. Bye-bye.
And William, would you like me to teach you how to play X-Wing Higwood?
I can do a backflip like that. Easy.
So today we're going to be talking about the UK System Open, about Team USA trying to take over Europe, and the FFG panel that we were at Star Wars Celebration. And after the show, we're going to be discussing the Episode 9 trailer. But don't worry, we'll give you plenty of spoiler warning if you don't want to be a part of that discussion. So we're talking about the UK System Open. 567 players battled for supremacy at the UK System Open. The winner was Jack Mooney. He went undefeated with a Rebel list using Han Solo and Jake. And that's where I want to start our discussion, gentlemen. Let me go ahead and open up this list so that the people at home can take a look.
Yep, while you're copying and pasting it there, I can break it down here.
Yep.
As you said, it's Han and Jake. Jake Farrell in the A-Wing. It's got Outmaneuver and Lone Wolf. Han Solo in the Millennium Falcon has Trick Shot. Luke Skywalker Gunner. R2-D2 crew. Kanan Jarrus crew. Engine Upgrade. Millennium Falcon title. And inertial dampeners for a total of 144 points.
That's a lot of points.
Yeah, that is a lot of points.
That is the thickest on you can get.
So what are you guys'
exactly.
thoughts on this list?
So I actually saw you guys were at Celebration, and Kelly and I were not at Indianapolis Regional. We were giving other people a chance thanks to our tire. By the way, you're welcome, Indianapolis. Whoever won over there, you're welcome. Now, so since we weren't there, we actually watched like 3 games on Saturday, and we watched the whole run on Sunday. And yeah, we got to see this list play, and it's quite impressive the way that Jack played it. It's not the first time that we see a fat Han do well. Obviously, we saw one at Adepticon with Nathan Idy flying a fat Han, also Jake, but then he had it a little bit thinner so he can fit Nora in the ARC 170 in there as well, which I happen to think is a better list, more well-rounded list. But yeah, so it's not the first time that a fat Han makes a final table at a System Open. Actually, two System Opens in a row now. But the way that Jack flew it, the way that I would call it is surgical. He was surgical with it, and lucky. Very lucky. He got lucky against Ben Lee, and I think if you ask him, he would probably say the same thing. He got Jake blocked with 3 TIE Phantoms shooting at him and did 0 damage.
What?
Not a normal occurrence, a tokenless Jake taking 0 damage from 3 Phantom shots. And then at the end of that game, it was the only he won because he did half damage on one, and Ben did 0 damage on him. So it was like a 25-0 win. It was a squeak. And then the next one, the next one was also a tight one against I forgot that player's name, but again it was he basically was losing, and he did a 3 hard turn to go away. You'll probably see it. The streamers that were doing it were First Earth. European stream, and they'll probably have it up on the channel somewhere. But yeah, like he made it by a millimeter, and he regenerated that turn to basically get himself up over half and went on points. So it's a great list. He flew it amazingly. He got lucky when he needed to get lucky, and he was good when he needed to be good. I don't think it's the world killer that people are making it out to be, because I challenge anyone to go out there with a 140-point ship, basically a one-ship list, and win with one ship. It's especially in a meta where Rebel Beef is the thing, and you're going to try to avoid 6-7 arcs. So, which you can't with a 1 agility ship. I don't care how many rerolls you have, you're still got 1 agility.
Right. So I want to stay on that path, because I did see a lot of that dissent on a lot of the forums, on Reddit. People saying that this list is it's quote unquote degenerate. We're back in first edition. I mean, like lots of what I'm going to call just like over dramatic comments out there.
I'm going to throw this is not beef. This is
okay.
Whatever you want to call it, but. Like Ryan, Ryan and the Minox farmer, Moisture, and the Minox, like the right after that, within 24 hours, he had a post up saying like, now it took this, and is the Fat Han, should we nerf it? Is this blah blah blah? Like, that's not the right narrative to bring after one person wins the system open with it through squeaking by. And then it had like 400 comments on it. I posted something like saying, and then I was getting
some haterade.
Haterade. Tyler was hating on me. Tyler Tibbet was hating on me, saying like, no, it's really a bad list. I'm like, Tyler, you beat it. What are you talking about? It's like you won against it. But yeah, it's I just that's one part that I hope we don't add here today. Is just because a list does well, don't automatically try to pummel it down. Let's see how people who are not at Jack Mooney or Nathan Ides level try to take this to any significant wins and see what happens. Because for the people who don't know Jack Mooney, he's been flying Jake and Han. He flew Jake and Han at the 2015 or the 2016.
16.
Yeah, the 2016 Worlds, and took that to the top 16. And he's been flying that for 3 or 4 years straight. So not everybody has that kind of table time and has had that kind of success with it for that long. It's like if Jump Masters were moderately okay, and I was to take it somewhere, people would be like, "Oh, Jump Masters." No. It's like not everybody has. Some people are good at certain archetypes.
Right.
Doesn't mean everybody's going to pick it up and do well with it.
So I would say that the part of this list that I want to say trigger people the most, let me go ahead and bring this just a little bit larger, a little easier to see at home, is probably the interaction between Kanan Jarrus and inertial dampeners. Like, I'm okay with the list. And you're right, 144 points, if you're not in the perfect spot every single time, you're going to get wrecked. It's going to be bad. But for a player at their level, at Nathan Ides level, at Jack Mooney level, having access to that Kanan Jarrus inertial dampeners interaction is kind of crazy. It's a really, really good. So if you're not familiar with it, inertial dampeners says before you would execute a maneuver, you may spend 1 shield. If you do, execute a white 0 stop instead of the maneuver, then take a stress token. Kanan Jarrus allows you to spend a force to remove a stress token after you execute a white maneuver. So those do work together. You can essentially end up without stress while doing that for the cost of a shield, while you also have R2-D2 there getting the shield back. The challenge, when you're playing against one of these, is a lot of times these Hans have a really big bid. Jack's list sitting at 191 points, and basically at Initiative 6, after everything is moved, he can choose to either stay where he is, go far away, or boost away. So you have a lot of different options as the Han player, and that is probably where a lot of people playing against this kind of think like, oh, this is impossible. But here's the thing. There are solutions to playing against this list. And I think that is what I want to keep the discussion on. Let's say this becomes the new meta. What can we do to beat it? What does this type of list not want to see out there? What are its weaknesses?
William, you want to go? Or?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this all day. ever since the finals of this, and I saw the list of what could hard counter it, and I don't think it has a hard counter, except for maybe like Soontir Vader with a 10-point bid.
Mm-hmm.
Like Soontir Vader, Vermeil, or Duchess, maybe. I don't know if I'd trust Duchess against it. But still, even in that list, you still have Jake out there as a blocker then to block Darth Vader.
Mm-hmm.
And Han Solo is still super maneuverable, that they still have to go and track him. They still have to guess, which one of his 8 positions he can end up in. Because you have stop, boost 3 different ways, and then your bank, probably 3 bank or hard 3, most likely,
Mm-hmm.
and then 3 boost off of there as well. So 8 positions that Han can end up, and there's very few ships or very few lists that I think has that like on target capability to keep up with Han and keep firing round after round after round. And I think maybe Quad Phantom, though it has, we've seen that in Adepticon, that Quad Phantom could take it down eventually.
Also, actually, in all fairness, in the UK System Open, also the same thing. The Quad Phantoms gave it a tough run, and Jack, being cagey as he was, and in a couple instances being lucky as he was able to beat him. So I think the Quad Phantoms, I think is probably the right example, because I think Quad Phantoms may not be around that long. I think 10. We haven't talked about the whole, but out of the top 16, 10 of the 16 in the finals were Phantoms.
There you go.
Either a 99-point Phantom list or a 100-point Phantom list. That's 10 out of 16. So that one's definitely a problem. That's what we probably should be talking about more. But everybody already heard it.
Yeah.
I actually think that at the end of the day, you're still dealing with 2 ships. You're dealing with a 2-die Jake at Initiative 4. Not the worst thing in the world. And you're dealing with, a 3-die attack that's going to be modded and is always going to have a shot because of Luke with Han. But you have 2 shots. So there's definitely things that you can do. And you really just, I think what's happening right now more than anything else is that people aren't used to seeing the list. They don't know, to your point, they don't know that it could end up into 8 different places. Once good players find out, or not find out, they already know. But once they start practicing and thinking about how to beating it, you can take, for example, your Watt list, and once you know what the options are, you know how to corner and corral Han to if you're basically start limiting the options. Like, if you're going to go here, you're going to take 3 shots. If you're going to go there, you're going to take 3 shots. If you're going to go there, you're going to take 2 shots. And kind of corral him into
the spots you don't want to be, yeah.
Yeah, and the spot saying okay, if you want to come and get behind me, you're going to take 4 shots. If you're going to go away and I'm going to keep pursuing, you're going to only take 2 shots. So what do you want to do? You want to take 4 shots and come at me, or you want to go further away to where I can keep corralling you and only take 2? And really get cagey like that, where you're using your low initiative ships to basically create the blocks if he wants to take one angle and start corralling. It's really not a whole lot different. I think players like you, William, players like Blair Bunky that does like the Z95s, or Kalen Wong, people that are good with corralling and beating high initiative ships can do that. Because if you think about it, ships that have lower initiative, ships that are playing at, again, when you have the Rebel Beef, when you have the Fair Ship Rebels, or all of those lists, they have to have that same type of mindset in cutting off angles and cutting off escape routes when they face a supernatural Kylo, when they face a supernatural Luke, when that was a thing. Or when they face an advanced sensor Guri. It's the same thing. You have to escape. You have to cut off those escape routes, and you're playing against perfect information with the ability to be in 15 different spots. at the start of the turn. So again, it's not the end of the world, and it won't be, I don't think.
And if you want to pursue some, I like kind of making it a little cheeky, having some fun with it. So maybe another way we can kind of battle Han or some tech here might be seismic charges.
Oh man, I was just thinking about that. It's like Death Rain or a Trajectory Vinny, potentially a hard counter to this list, because you could just keep shooting and reloading until there's no obstacles left.
Yep, and then Han no longer gets all his rerolls, and that's a big part of his ability with the R2-D2 and him attacking and defending is being able to use those rocks. And you'll see if you watch any of the games with Nathan Idy that we had during Adepticon and the games that Jack Mooney played as well, they will purposely spread the rocks out. The large base takes up a lot of room, large base plus range 1, and they're going to have these lanes that they're going to be able to just circle around. And the turns that they're not in range, which is very rare, are the turns where they end up doing the least amount of damage and taking the most damage because of not having access to Han Solo's ability. So another kind of fun list that might actually do pretty well against something like this would be a TIE Striker Swarm. You load them up with some seismic charges, and you take a pass, you get rid of a few of them, and now you have a significant amount of maneuverability to be able to swarm Han and cover a lot of lanes like you were talking about, Marcel.
Yep, or 5 A-Wings, actually. I think 5 A-Wings, because 5 A-Wings have a great way to... They have agility, and they have a great way to keep taking pot shots at any target, no matter where they are. Like, you have arcs in every direction all the time. And also, I think another thing that benefited him, Jack, and was the other semifinal match that was occurring. It was a Fairship Rebel build versus the 4K Wings with bombs. I know he did not want to see the 4K Wings. You have a 270-degree arc on 4 medium base ships. That was with, what was it, like 38, 36 health on it?
Yeah.
36 health and 36 health bombs for Jake, and 270 degrees on all 4 ships. Not a good list for him. Now, if you would have swapped that with seismics, now you put it all together. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm interested. Would a Sloan swarm, like you mentioned, strikers, like a strikers, Sloan, and some seismics? Does the double stress of Sloan slow down Han?
Only for one turn.
No.
Because he still has Kanan, and does Luke isn't in action, is it? No, Luke is not in action.
No, it's not, but it does slow him down because the Sloan gives him 2 stress, and then if he tries to do inertial dampener, he'll gain 1 and lose 1, so he'll stay at 2. So he'll be able to stay in place, but he won't be able to boost, and he won't be able to action.
Yeah,
and
no focus or evade.
And if he rotates his arc, he's losing a force to do so.
Yeah, so maybe Sloan could be an option. That'd be interesting to test for sure.
I'd rather not play against Sloan though, so that's not a good option. Nobody should
play Sloan.
Advice. No.
Is that why I stopped playing Sloan? Because you got sad every time I did it? Is that why?
I cry anytime I play against Sloan. Even if I win, I still cry. It's just so much stress.
Jokes. He's got jokes. So yeah, congratulations to Jack. Well played. And I think Marcel, just to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying earlier, it's really important that we make sure, like, Jack, he went undefeated throughout the entire System Open, and to give credit where credit is due. And is it a strong list? Sure. Has a lot of cool abilities? Sure. But he sure played really, really well and to the best of his abilities. And we'll see. Now, I would say that Han with inertial dampeners and Kanan Jarrus is kind of on my watch list. It's one of those where if this is something that becomes as prevalent as something like quad phantoms, then it's going to need to be addressed. Right now, we currently have 2 performances of that combination that did really, really well, but it wasn't in high quantity.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Now,
We'll see what happens over time.
I'm going to sound hypocritical, but I do think that the canon inertial dampener ruling needs to be looked at, regardless of how well it's listed. Only because I am quite sure that that's not how the game developers intended inertial dampeners to work.
I agree. I agree. But we're going to go ahead and move to the runner-up, Luke Townsend. He brought a 4-ship rebel list that focused on some B-wing action, and we know how people love their B-wings. So we got Wedge Antilles just with servo mortars, 10 nub with elusive and jamming beam because it's free, ladies and gents. Braylon Strom with just jamming beam, and Cassian Andor with Leia, tactical officer, and pivot wing. Will, what are your thoughts on this list?
I'm very surprised there's not a self list in there. I love the archetype. I think Cassian with Braylon is just such good synergy. Leia and the B-Wings dials is phenomenal. You could just do the combination of those pilot abilities, and Leia makes it so where those B-Wings almost can red maneuver every single round. Tidnub can clear his stress when he shoots. Braylon's stress gets cleared from Cassian. They can get Leia so they can do white maneuvers. They just become very, very much the knife fighters they're supposed to be. And Wedge is just out there. If you don't want to shoot a Wedge, that's fine. That's totally fine. Like, he'll just take initiative 6 shots all game until you want to deal with him. And it is very, very interesting. This is actually, once they dropped the points on the B-Wings, this is definitely the archetype that I was looking at. X-Wing. I had a Biggs in my version because I worried too much about the low agility of those B-Wings. But with so much health, with basically, let me try to say, so if you're stressed and Cassian clears it, and then you can do a red maneuver that's white, it basically, Cassian and Leia turn the entire B-Wings dial blue. Every single maneuver is magically blue. And that is...
The world is my oyster.
That's crazy. A blue 2K, a blue 1 Talon roll that you can then barrel roll linked focus and double mod your offense for Braylon is outrageous. And I definitely think that this is like a super skill list. Like, you don't, like I said, you don't have any of the damage sharing. You have fairly low initiative except for Wedge. I mean, Tidnub and Braylon are only 4. Cassian's a 3, and in a U-Wing. So, like, it's not your typical, like, jousty, like, damage passing, like, selfless bigs kind of tricks. But it just hits really hard, and it has a lot of health. And as long as you can, like, turn after turn, keep all the arcs on a single target, you're just deleting ships off the board.
And it looks like Luke took the elusive on 10 nub as a solution to help with that defense. Since Braylon gets to re-roll his agility dice anyway when he's stressed, he's going to go ahead and, all right, 10, you have the option as well. Because I know when I play against these double B-Wings, I always go for 10 nub first. Almost always. I'm like, all right, he's easier to kill because he doesn't have any re-rolls. But now... He's got a reroll, even though that's just one time. But with all the red maneuvers, he's going to be getting that charge back anyway. So
yeah, he could do a red maneuver every single round as long as Cassian's nearby or he's can clear his stress when he shoots. So that's some really efficient economy out of that single upgrade of elusive.
Yeah, very, very strong. So congratulations to both these gentlemen for doing so well. It's super cool to see two lists that haven't won anything yet to win on the big stage. I know that Nathan 91 was something very similar to Jack, but it is a different take on the Fat Han archetype. So now I want to go ahead and move into talking about the Wave 5, actually not even just Wave 5, the FFG panel that happened at Star Wars Celebration. We got so many things that we have to talk about. First, I guess we'll hit the easy things first. For Wave 5, we have, I believe it was 3 ships that are going to be re-released. Sorry, 4 ships re-released. We got the Inquisitor's TIE, the Punishing One, that's the Jumpmaster, the newly painted M3A Interceptor, and the Ghost with a physically dockable Phantom 2. I was kind of laughing. People were like, "Oh, that's cool. This one brings a Phantom 2." And I said, it is cool. You're right. But the reason they did the Phantom 2 and not the Phantom 1 is because they probably didn't want to deal with the logistics of figuring out how to make the Phantom 1 with those little wings that pop out, make those wings fold and actually fit into that scale model.
I know somebody who figured it out.
Oh, I mean, I do too, but I'm saying I don't.
And
think
I know where that ship that it got figured out in is going to end up.
Where's it going to end up, Marcel? Where's it going to go?
In my nerd wall.
There it is. All right.
They also gave the Ghost a revamped base stand as well. Everybody remembers the crazy tripod, right?
Did you guys were there? Did you guys actually see it? Like, what's different about it?
So
the model wasn't the same in the case. They didn't have the updated model yet.
The one in the case was the first edition model. They didn't have that one. But yeah, they didn't actually show what the new base looks like, because even in the picture when they were showing on the panel, it's shot from top down, so you can't see.
Oh, you could see it in. You can see it in the article.
All right.
I put the article in our chat.
Boop, boop.
Our Facebook chat. I'll put it in Discord as well. Or if one of our nice moderators can do that as well. The Fate of the Galaxy article. Yeah, you can see that the stand, it looks like an Epic stand, but it's not as triangular, if that makes sense. But they needed something. That the tripod wasn't working.
I think the tripod would have worked if the 2 other ends would have actually attached to the ship rather than just touch it. Like, I see what they were going for, but it just was.
Yeah, in both of mine Ghost, I ended up putting magnets on all 3 tips, and then putting magnets at the bottom. 3 different magnets at the bottom of the Ghost, and that it holds up pretty well.
So we'll go ahead and there it is right there. For those who haven't seen it. Enhanced. So yeah, it's more of you can see that there's no tripod on it. And it looks more clear. I don't know. Maybe that's just the photoshopping. But it looks
Sure. It's probably all digital anyways. But
looks like glass. Well, let's go ahead and talk about our new ships. Should we do that, right?
Yeah, well, you covered all of them, right?
Yeah, let's see
all the reprints.
Yeah, all the
Inquisitor's
reprints.
TIE, Punishing One.
Yep, so-
No, you skipped a spot.
I did not.
Yeah, you did. This week's are discussing UK.
Oh, yeah, we'll get to that one after. Sorry, we'll flip it over.
Okay.
We'll flip it.
Gotcha.
Anyways.
Got excited.
Don't anyway me, buddy.
All right. I got a lot of things to say about the Nexus.
Oh, well, let's go ahead.
Nantax?
The Nantax. Let's go ahead and start with the Nantax class starfighter. Go ahead, Will.
All right, so this is a 3 bullseye, 2 rotating turret, 3 agility, 4 hull, and all of them have just focus and evade on their action bar. And I think that they also have the ship ability. After you do a maneuver, you can rotate your turret to only your starboard and fore sides. So you can't put the turret in the back. But to do that rotation, you need to take a tractor token, which actually ends up giving you a barrel roll then, in addition to the reduced agility. Because you're assigning the tractor token, you get to decide where that barrel roll or boost puts you. And I think the bullseye only primary is super, super interesting. I always theorized that they could do this, like make a very like cheap ship that has just like 3 dice bullseye. I didn't expect the ship to also have a turret when it came out, but this is definitely the ship. I mean, if you check out the model, it has the swiveling turret between the kind of beak, the top beak and the bottom beak of the ship.
Yep, right there.
And it's going to do some pretty crazy things. One of the abilities that they released was the Ensnare. That's specific only for the Nantex class starfighter. And it says, at the end of the activation phase, if you are attracted, you may choose one ship in your mobile arc at range 0 to 1. You can transfer 1 tractor token to it. So imagine the Initiative 6 moves, rotates its arc to the, say, left, takes the tractor token for a boost, and now you're in range 1 of it inside of that arc, and then it gives that tractor token to you, and it can actually then, it could even barrel roll you into its bullseye then as well, which is, that's a lot going on for a ship that just has focus and evade on its action bar.
Yeah, and I know that looking at this initially, I was like, man, at first I saw the bullseye, like, that seems really hard. But once you start looking at these abilities, and really it does have that repositioning built in, you just have to work harder for it, which probably means that these ships are going to be cheaper. But I think high skill players that can visualize on the board what it looks like when you barrel roll yourself and give somebody a tractor to barrel roll them into you, like that's going to be gross. But I think it's gonna make some really exciting and fun opportunities on the table.
Oh yeah. You know me, tractor beams are a personal favorite of mine, and end of activation tractor beam placement is outrageous. That is like the perfect timing. Right after another 6 is moved already. Oof. But it's still fragile. 2 or 3 agility on 4 hull. Without, kind of looks like a Fang fighter, but without a Concordia Dawn, you're going to end up taking a lot of damage if you're not playing it as that kind of knife fighter, arc dodger.
I'm curious to see how these are going to fit into squad building. Do you think, is it a swarm of these? Is it do you have one with a bunch of vultures? Well, what are you guys thinking?
I could see it with like, you take the 6 and you take like Dooku and Grievous and kind of get like a triple, or basically a 2 ace and then a tank out there. I think that I've been really stuck on every Separatist list I build is like 5 vultures and 1 ship, like 5 vultures and a scimitar, 5 vultures and a Boba Lab. And I think this would slot right in with that kind of mini swarm style, especially because it's going to give your opponent a hard choice of like, do you ignore my 5 vultures and try to go hunt this 3 agility ship?
Agreed. I do like the art on that, by the way. It's super cool. You can see that it's tractor beaming a what are those things called?
Torrent.
The torrents, yeah. Oh no, crashing into rocks.
No, I think.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I just think that this is we had guessed Tri-Fighter as was
Yeah.
going to be the Separatist is like 3 agility ship, but this is far more interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Is it good? I don't know. You gotta see point cost to figure out if it's good, but it's definitely very interesting. I think it will be playable as long as it's priced accordingly.
Oh yeah, and the Separatists. I've been in the prequel era right now. I'm listening through all of the prequel era movie books, and I'm also I just started listening to audiobook of Master and Apprentice, which is Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, and just hearing all of the number of systems that are part of the Separatists. There's going to be no shortage of content for Separatists. Trust me, there's a bunch. There is a lot. And it's really cool that they didn't just stick to droids because there are plenty of droid ships that they can do. They went out here and got a Geonosian ship, which if you're not familiar with those are those little like alien bug looking guys. Yeah, pretty cool. Marcel, thoughts on the Nantex?
Nantex. Those are the beaky things.
Yes.
They look like
Big Bird. The Big Bird ships.
Big Bird. I think when we had an episode of I don't know, like 5-6 episodes ago, when we were talking about ships that we want to see, that's the one that I called out that I wanted to see. So I'm glad that they listened to me. That's the only reason why they're making it.
Of course.
They probably put it on like rush production.
Yeah, they're like, get it done now.
Yeah,
we got to have it ready for celebration.
No, I actually like the Geonosian. Actually, what I like about it most is that it's a Geonosian ship, and I played Star Wars: The Old Republic, and in Star Wars: The Old Republic, the Geonosians are kind of a big thing because they have like a whole world. So I'm kind of excited more about that side of it. But I think the ship, it brings some needed elements to the Republic, especially like the Initiative 6. That's really good that you're getting ships that have an Initiative 6 on there. And also I say like well, I always kind of assumed that eventually they would come out with a front bullseye only arc. And it's good that they came out with this. I also thought it was kind of quite interesting that when I first saw it, when I only saw the card with the rotate, I kind of thought it was gonna be like the A-wing, but the fact that it actually does everything except the back arc, I thought that was kind of cool. So I think it's interesting. I think it adds new elements. It's just a matter of seeing like what the actual pilot abilities are for all the different ships, the costs are, and with the Republic, you're either I think you're kind of stuck, right? You're either building a swarm or you're building a very scum-like. I think these are very scummy. Like if you're not building a swarm, it's like a very scum-like type of list where you have Count Dooku, Maul, Grievous, and a bunch of shenanigans going on.
Shenanigans can't be exclusive to scum. I think it definitely is transferring over here to the Separatists.
I'm liking Separatists a lot. And now one thing that I noticed though, however, is with this Geonosian ships is it doesn't come with any calculates. So the Separatists, I was saying Republic anyway. The Separatists, the Separatists. Play off a lot of Republic. I mean, good Lord. The Separatists play off a lot of calculate abilities. I didn't see any calculate tokens on this ship, so it might... I think it might create a couple synergistic... issues if...
It does look like the Initiative 5 has some sort of calculate tokens, something about a red calculate token on its pilot ability. But you're right, though. The pack itself doesn't come with any calculate. So this might be like one of those Captain Seer abilities, or it's kind of supporting the vultures around it. You can even see a vulture flying in the background of that Initiative 5 art as well.
Yeah.
So I think that there's definitely going to be like pilots that are built for the different archetypes that you're looking for.
All right, well, let's go ahead and transition to our next brand new ship, which I'm super excited about because I was waiting for this ship to be released so that we can get some brand new designs with the Republic Y-Wing. I was like, I can't do it yet because it's not in the game. And here we go. Mad Medic, thank you for the sub. The BTL-B Y-Wing, the thickest of the Y-Wing because it has all of its armor plating. And it's just, it's so gorgeous. So gorgeous. Let's go ahead and break it down here a little bit. It has a native 2 dice front arc attack, 1 agility, 5 hull, 3 shields, similar to the first edition Y-Wing, if you remember that. Has for actions focus, target lock, red barrel roll, red reload. For the ship ability, it has plated hull. While you defend, if you are not critically damaged, change 1 crit result to a hit result. Pretty interesting. Before I jump into it, initial reactions. Go ahead.
They're all Zeb. They're all better than Zeb. Yeah, I think definitely these need to be. I mean, these really do what probably the VT-19s were intended to do, which is bring kind of an ordnance. And the VT-19 was kind of presented like this is going to be our bomber version, but it's actually does a horrible job as a bomber.
You mean like a missile carrier?
Yeah, like a missile carrier,
Yeah.
like the Imperial bomber. And this is now you can add some ordnance to your Republic, some variety to your Republic, and that you're not going to crit me. Plus, I'm going to add an additional shield instead of being 6-2, 6 hull, 2 shields. It's 5 hull, 3 shields. I think it's just really good. I think it's going to be a little bit more expensive. I think it has to be a little bit more expensive than the Rebel counterpart and the Scum, just because of that native ability.
Oh yeah,
and I know you haven't gotten to there yet, but they also have an Initiative 6, which with Force. So now you're talking about somebody that can put a proton torpedo on, a ship that is almost critical damage. It avoids critical damage, and it can do a target lock focus proton torpedo at Initiative 6. This is I wonder how they're going to point that one out. That's going to be a tough one to get a right point cost, because you can't be as high as Anakin in the how do you call those things?
the Deltas? Yeah, Delta 7.
Yeah. 17 or 7?
7.
Okay. Anyway, you can't be expensive with that. It can't be 60 points. But it's got to be expensive, because that carrier, if you put a proton torpedo on an Initiative 6 with Force, that is got 8 health and immune to criticals, it's got to be pricey.
Yeah, but I think maybe one of the taxes that you pay on this ship is the dial, right? Like, it's not super maneuverable. You can see that right there. Will, go ahead. Tell me about that dial.
So it is the Y-Wing dial we've all come to know in second edition, except for it's missing the 1 bank blues. So it's, if you are stressing yourself, if you're going to be doing a lot of reloading, a lot of barrel rolls, and don't want to take expert handling, or can't because you're a Force user, you are almost required to put the R2 astromech on these to get those extra blues. But then again, is that going to pay off in the long run versus, say, another droid that could say to give you an action when you do a red move?
Well, let me ask you one thing. In that, go back to the big shot of it. How many? No, not the other one. Sorry, the one with all the cards. How many astromechs do you see?
Just one. You see it right after C-3PO and Ahsoka Tano. There's a unique asteroid, or excuse me, unique astromech that seems to be charge based.
Yeah, right. Here.
But you do get those astromechs in the kind of what is it? It's not Guardians of the Galaxy. What is it called?
Guardians of the Republic.
Republic. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was just wondering
If it was
because
going to have
because
a
I do
slot.
agree. Yeah, because that's really the only downside to this is it's limited dial, but that astromech is only 2 points.
2
So
points,
that's not,
right?
Yeah, so it's not.
Now
Really,
I do want to clarify that. Remember, defenders modify attack dice first. So your plated hull is actually only going to negate naturally rolled crits. So things like advanced targeting computer, marksmanship, like a target lock into a crit. The plated hull ability won't modify those crits, but
that includes proton torpedoes.
yes, because once again, the defender modifies first.
Yeah. Change 1 crit to a hit. Yeah, roll. I do it. Yeah, you are correct, Will.
Yeah, but it still will take away the naturally rolled crits. And there's not too many. I think I named off almost all of them. What, BT1 and proton torpedoes. There's very few like crit modifiers that are out there.
But it definitely can help on that, like that random crit that happens. Somebody rolls it at that inopportune time. You're just like, man, I wish this wasn't a crit on the table there. That would really help.
Yeah, and also when you do factor in like how many crits end up getting flipped face down, or you could just flip them face down yourself, you can keep yourself not critted for quite a while. The other point I wanted to make, and well, talking about Anakin, because he's the only one we could like, we know for sure has force. There's 4 force tokens in the pack. I think veteran turret gunner and ion or dorsal. We've seen the generics doing very well with them, and being able to have that kind of modification while shooting twice could also be pretty potent as well.
Oh, yeah. Big time. Now, I wanted to run in and take a look at some of the new, unique, generic upgrades that we actually see in this pack. Now, I want to talk about 2 sides of this because right there on top, you see Snapshot. The ever so loved Snapshot.
I love it.
I like it.
I
I liked it better at range 1. You can see in the spread that it's
Range 2.
range 2,
Yep.
which range 2 attack dice. You can't modify it. It says in the card, it's the last paragraph or last bullet point on that upgrade card, that you can't modify your dice while you use the upgrade card, guys. Just clarifying that. But what interests me is that they put the missile icon that says no range bonuses on a range 2 weapon. That's my question for you guys. How could a range 2 weapon get a range bonus?
By not getting an extra die at range 1.
It's only range 2.
But it's only at range 2.
Oh, only range 2?
Yeah. That might
it
be
doesn't matter.
future proofing. If for whatever reason, if you got some type of upgrade that says you get a range bonus at range 1 and 2. That's my guess.
Oh, maybe that's a what do I say? Maybe that's a unique pilot. We see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pilot cards. 2 of them look to be generics here. So there's at least 4 tokens, so at least 4 named pilots on this ship, and it's very likely that one could say your special weapons always get their range 1 bonus, which would make the ion cannon turret, like you see in the spread there, shoot 4 dice at range 2. So that could be a way. But I don't think that there's anything currently in the game that does give a range bonus at range 2. I
Now-
think it's still very interesting, though, if it's priced accordingly.
Now, I want to dig into a couple of other things here, and that is the fact that both of these packs, the Nantex and the Y-Wing, actually bring upgrades that are not available anywhere else, at least not that we can see. That being Snapshot, and also it looks like the Nantex also has targeting computer, which I'm going to guess is going to be a generic modification of some kind. And there are also some other new art pieces that we can see in the spread that we don't know exactly what they are. But if they are generic, FFG did talk about having a way for these upgrades that are only released in a certain faction made available. We'll see what happens there. But I know that that's something that some players were a little bit worried about. They're hesitant. They're saying, but what about the making it... hold on one second. Excuse me. I just sneezed. People at home didn't hear that. My boys did. Yeah, I'm just curious how they're gonna handle that. But we'll see there. I'm excited for new ships, though. I always get super pumped. And what I want to ask you both is, if you could only have one in a squad, would you rather have the Nantex or the Y-Wing?
With the pilots or with the information that we have
With all the
today,
information that we have today.
I would rather have the Y-Wing, mostly for that Initiative 6 and Initiative 6 with Force. I think just beats all.
And Will?
I'm taking the Nantex for similar reasons. Initiative 6, repositioning and giving out tractor tokens at the end of activation. Oof, that sounds dangerous.
So I think we believe that they're good. Well, of course, as always in second edition, points depending. That's like, we need a shirt that says like, well, depending on the points, something like that.
Right. I will say that my final comment on both of these expansions is, you had the Y-Wing spread up right now. Look at all those upgrade cards. Look at all the just tokens in that. Like
New bomb in there too.
Yeah, new bombs, old bombs, turrets. Like, I think this is probably the first pack where I was like, okay, this is a $20 expansion.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean. Yeah. Yeah, there's all kinds. There's new tokens in there, like the machine, the configuration ones. It's kind of what it looks like.
I think it's just to tell if your Y-Wing is critical or not, but it could have a different meaning.
No, because the critical damage ones are different, but and the critical maybe they're crit tokens.
No, but like to say that you're not critted, that my hull is still, my plating's still available.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Like,
And then then once you're critted, you can take the token away.
like an indicator token. I see what you mean.
Yeah.
I see what you mean.
Also, I'm very interested in. I forget what it's exactly called, but they showed in one of the Clone Wars episodes where the Y-Wing shoot that kind of like piercing missile.
Mm-hmm.
But in this one, it's a token. So we might actually see our first naturally launched munition. I guess we had Discord missiles. Discord missiles launched by themselves, but they're not generic though. We'll find out if that's a potential generic upgrade.
Yeah, we'll find out. All right, let's go ahead and move on. And this topic is for Marcel. Let's talk about Team USA.
Team USA. So actually, I wanted to start it off because you're the one that kind of initiated all of this stuff.
Alrighty, so that's our background for this. Just a bunch of different American flags.
Well, you got the Punisher. Yeah, that fits. That's what we're
There
gonna
you
go.
go.
We're gonna go Punish. Okay, go ahead.
So I would say about a month ago, the organizers from the European Team Championship say, Dion, you're coming to Poland for the System Open. Right before the System Open, we're going to have the European Team Championships. We know you're going to be streaming there. We want you to organize a team. No, actually, we don't want to. They told me, organize a team, bring America to the European Team Championships for the first time. And I was like, that seems like a really big responsibility. So we figured out dates, all that stuff. Turns out I actually can't even play in it because I had already paid for my ticket, which is non-refundable, to get the good price that I got at the time. And so I was like, crap. I pulled a bunch of people that I was like, all right, you're a good player, and I talk to you pretty often. Let me talk to you. So no offense if I didn't send you a text, okay? Don't no feels bad. But so I just kind of gathered a bunch of people, say, hey guys, we need Team USA. By the way, I can't really lead this, but I'll help whenever I can. I'll be a cheerleader, right? That's my role, Marcel. On day two, like, go America, go USA. All right. But yeah, I think it's going to be super fun, and we'll be represented in the European Team Championships for the first time. I know that the United States is a huge country, and we have a lot of X-Wing players, and they are accepting multiple teams from different countries. So I guess if you really want to pull together a team, you probably can get involved as well. But Marcel is the official team captain of Team USA.
Boom. Guns.
There you go.
There you go. I got to get on the right one. Yeah, super excited about this. So, at first, I know Dion had brought it up, and it was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. I'll think about it. And then, how do you say the maker of Paratani? How do you pronounce his name? Marcel? Machet? Okay, Machet. Came over to... Okay, also Old Para came by to Adepticon, and we were talking, and he's like, yeah, we really should do it. And then I started taking it a little bit more seriously. And then, I don't know, just something happened. I was like, let me just buy the ticket and then figure it out later. So I ended up buying a ticket to go to Europe, to the European Championships, and started putting together a team, kind of piggyback off of Dion's first reaching out to a few people. Again, if we didn't reach out to you, don't blame me, blame Dion. He created the invite list to begin with. Okay, so all of you who are not invited to join us as the representatives of Team USA versus the world. By the way, there's 18 teams so far, 16 countries. Only two countries have two teams. So 16 different countries, 18 teams. After you're done hating on Dion, let's root for Team USA. We're going to be the first time bringing over there, and we're bringing a former North American champion, a former U.S. national, or actually a reigning U.S. national champion. We're bringing System Open champions, and we're actually bringing an Italian-born but U.S. citizen by parentage that is already invited to Worlds and has his own accolades in Italy. So we're putting together kind of a dream team to go over there, and you'll see some names that you recognize going over there. That's all I want to say. I'm not gonna spoil the actual names yet, but you're not gonna. Well, I guess I kind of spoiled one by saying reigning U.S. national champion. Yeah, you got to do the research, but there's some notable names there. There's multiple podcasts being represented over there, U.S. based podcasts, and I think for a couple people, I'm not going to throw this out there too far because I'm going to let them deal with it. I already got my tickets, so you're not going to see it from me. But there's a couple people that might want to make the trip who may reach out to their communities to see if they can get some support to get. It's an expensive trip. It's about $1,000 to get there and back. So you might see a couple of your favorite personalities X-Wing personalities reaching out, maybe setting up a short GoFundMe. So, support them. It's all for a good cause, and the good cause being USA on top. So there we go.
Super excited about Team USA, and if I'm able to stream it, that'd be cool. But we'll find out the logistics. We're working on that, and we're gonna go ahead and roll into our final topic. But before we do that, we want to say thank you to everybody who listened to the podcast. We're going to be moving into some possible spoilerific areas here. We're going to be talking about the rise of Skywalker. But before we do that, we have, as usual, our list of the week and our question of the week. We're going to try to get through these fast because we are running a little bit behind. Actually, what we'll probably do here is we're going to we'll save the list for next week, gentlemen. We'll save the list for next week. And the name, I'll give you a little preview. The name of the list is Hypermeric and Friends. And we're going to leave it at that. And if the listener knows who they are, they're probably really excited about that. The question of the week is, Dion, what is the timing of gaining a stress from a red action? How does that interact with composure and the ability Q? So it's pretty simple because of the ability Q. When you fail an action, the stress from that goes to the front of the ability queue. Happens right away. So there is no interaction with composure and whatchamacallit. And failing a red action. So that's just important to note. That's pretty much how that one fits. As soon as I know the word immediately doesn't mean anything in the game, but pretty much immediately once you fail the red action, you gain the stress. Then you would do your composure check. Composure says, hey, you failed an action, but you can't do an action because you're stressed. So thank you to everybody who watched. You can watch all of our live X-Wing coverage on twitch.tv/Gold Squadron Podcast. Guys, I had a meeting today. Oh, I don't want to spoil it. You know what? Maybe I'll spoil it a little. No, I'll leave it. I had a meeting today. We got some cool stuff coming. That's all I'm going to say. We got some cool stuff coming. I want to watch X-Wing. If you want to watch X-Wing on our YouTube channel, go ahead, check it out. Gold Squadron Podcast. Look us up. Hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 7,000 subscribers. We're so close. Help us get there. And if by the time you go and click it, it's not. If we're past 7, go ahead, click it. Help us get to 8. And you can join our Discord community. Go ahead and type !Discord in either our YouTube or our Twitch chat, and the link will pop up there. And thank you so much to our patrons, our biggest supporters in the community. Without you guys, we can't do it. And I did just realize that we forgot to talk about Epic Play. We spent a lot.
Darwin,
I was
disown you.
I was real excited to talk about it too.
I know. Okay. Let me talk about it.
But maybe
Big ship on the table later this year.
Oh,
Yeah, we're done. That's about all you need.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Somebody's
big
reporting.
3 hour.
Somebody's reporting that we're actually at 7,025 subscribers already. Well, you know what? That must have jumped up in the last day or so because the last time I looked at it, it wasn't there. So, woo! We did it. 7K. Road to 8K.
All Skippy.
You know what? We'll save Epic for next week. How about that? We'll save Epic for next week. So, because maybe we'll get some more details by then because there's actually very little.
So, Monday, for those of you who don't know, I work in business and like big industry, big serious people with ties and stuff. Yeah. Big fancy stuff, crashing Jaguars and stuff. So anyway, well, I didn't quite crash it. I mean, I broke it, but not crashed it. I stopped a meeting with 14 people in it to watch the Star Wars trailer, the Episode 9 trailer. So I got a bunch of funny looks from the people that don't know what it's about, but yeah, I did it. So
there you go.
Yeah, so we could stop the stream.
I'm Matthew Wood. I play the voice of General Grievous in Star Wars, and you're listening to the Gold Squadron Podcast. Gold Squadron out.